Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And what I was hoping to do today, one of the challenges we have with doing a graduate education recruitment event is we sometimes miss the subtlety that you are an engineer. And when you go to graduate school, you will be doing engineering. Dr. Perez referred to that, but one of the challenges you have when you talk about graduate recruitment, we make it seem all nice and fuzzy, write your statement, do your GRE, but ultimately you're going to add to the field. And that's one of the most important things. So even though I'm going to talk about fellowships, and I'm going to get into the blocking and tackling of how to strategically apply for the largest fellowship in the country, one of the things I want to talk about is that, and you should see it demonstrated from a professor, is that we are part of the solution and we are engineers that actually have to touch the world. So one of the things that I did, I just got back from India. I was in India for 12 days. I did 2 TED Talks, one in Mumbai and one in Bangalore. And there were 800 students, and then the second was 1,200, and we streamcasted across the country. One of the challenges is that if we talk and we say a good game, we say, you guys should be engineers, come to graduate school to become a better engineer or more scientific engineer, that I think we have to demonstrate it. So today I wanted to make sure the first part of my talk was a little bit more about where engineering and where the world's going. And the second part will get into application of some of the things that we've been talking about. So the title is The Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Next Generation of Students. So a little bit about myself. One of the things, the question we get all the time about graduate education is, should I go to graduate school right after undergraduate? I didn't, but I will tell you there's some benefits for you guys doing it differently than the way I did it, because the world has changed. And so a little bit about me, I have a research lab. My research lab this year, I have 12 students, 2 postdocs, 2 visiting scientists. And what I don't want to belittle is that you are going to be joining a fraternity. You'll be joining a group. And you'll be doing some good things that are important as far as engineering, as far as your science, as far as the activities you want to participate in. I don't want to sugarcoat and say that it's easy. I think I get a little concerned because we want to encourage blacks and Latinos and American Indian, but we have to be careful. We still are going to be acceptable. We're still going to be held to the standards that are required by the field. One of the centers I ran is the Savant Center, which is Security Advanced View of Nanotechnology. I hate nanotechnology. But as Dr. Perez mentions, as you get more specific and more successful in your career, people will ask you to do things. This was the Homeland Security Center that I had to do in Dallas. And some of the technology you see at DFW Airport, I have patents on. Didn't do it because I wanted to do it. I did it because I thought it was important. So I don't know what happened to that. But the 4 questions we have about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and a zigzag, that's that, is it what are the fundamental differences between the information age and the Fourth Industrial Revolution? How has the Internet of Things changed big data? How do we get to self-driving cars? And what does this mean for the next generation of students? Unfortunately, I don't have an hour to do a TED Talk, so I'm only going to focus on some parts of this, right? What a lot of our faculty don't realize is that we're actually in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. If a faculty member tells you we're in the information age, they missed it. Information age started in 1960. Bill Gates is old. Right? Steve Jobs is dead. We are not in the information age. Right? We're in the third dimension. These are the ages we've had: the Industrial Revolution, the Second Industrial Revolution, the third, and we are not in the information age. And as we talk about this, you have to prepare yourself for the next age and how you're going to be employed. So part of graduate student is not sit back and the professor teaches you things. It's the new world. If you don't create your own graduate education experience, you will not be employable. Dr. Perez just said that. You didn't hear the subtleties. You can't just go to graduate school and hope that what you learn is going to be correct and that you're going to be employable. You have to keep up with the next set of things. You guys know of a third dimension, right? 3D printing, right? You've heard it. Uber. I mean, Uber's self-driving cars. I was in Mumbai. They were asking me, how the heck is we going to have self-driving cars? I said, well, you got to have rules and regulations first, because cows walking down the middle of the road, that's kind of hard to design an algorithm with, right? But the idea that you guys are seeing, my daughter, I give you an example. My daughter 4 years ago, when she was 9 years old, we did a drone. We were looking at the neighbor's yard, and some neighbor shot it down from Texas. They shot it with a gun, shut it down. And then I got in trouble with the homeowners association. They're like, you can't do that. 4 years later, we created a drone program in graduate level. So we have a graduate certificate for it, automated guided vehicles. I told my graduate students, if they take that certification, I will kick them out of my lab. If my 9-year-old daughter can do it, then I don't think you should be doing it in graduate school. You should already know how to do it. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying to you guys? And you can go and coast in graduate school like you did in undergrad, and you will have no value to the world. And so I'll say this, the fourth industrial revolution, this is where the jobs are going. Right? This is where it's going. But what people don't talk about is infrastructure. We have less engineers thinking about smart infrastructure, smart devices, when we have everybody doing healthcare. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to hold up. I think we're going to have an infrastructure problem in the next 10 years. And you guys are civil engineers. Well, let me say this. Funding will go towards infrastructure. Okay? In fact, I can't tell you, so I just got something this morning. There's going to be some federal funding towards it. So someone asked me, Dr. Jones, you represent diversity, black male diversity. Honestly, I got 5 books. They don't say black male diversity, right? They say different. They say they're in my field. I'm the best in the friggin' world in what I do. And I do it as an engineer and as a scientist. And the truth is, if I don't start with that bar, then none of my students will hit it. And it's an opportunity to be an underrepresented minority that represents that. But if I don't start with that bar, I won't hit it. And today I'm asking you to think about hitting the bar. So what does that mean for the next generation of students? Well, these are the 3 things that I think are going to happen. And I'm giving you some words that some of the faculty haven't heard yet. But I get to see these in Washington. I get to see these in different rooms. The 14 grand challenges of the world. This is where we're asking PhDs and scientists, when they get ready to think about taking on graduate education or graduate school, we hope the masters can tap it so when they go to industry, they can support it. But we hope the PhDs embrace the fact that our great-grandkids will not have food. We're going to be on Battlestar Galactica. The planet is dying, right? I'm saying this to you guys because you know what? You're the most socially responsible generation. Our generation wasn't responsible. I still got a Mercedes and it burns a heck of a lot of gas, right? But my kid wants a, what's that Yugo, whatever car, you plug it in. I still haven't got past that. I've been waiting for a Mercedes 20 years, right? But the truth is, we have to think about social responsibility, electric cars and these things. I'm from Houston, Texas. I saw the PV group, right? My mother-in-law would not leave Third Ward, Texas. So the boat had to go get her, right? And so when I had to go to Mumbai 2 weeks later, after having to have 2 rental properties in my mother-in-law's house, having to pull up carpet and cut the sheetrock because you got mold. And then I went to Mumbai and they had the same problem. The question I have to ask is, why doesn't society believe the news reports? My mother-in-law could have left a week ago. She could have stayed in the big house in Houston. She was like, I ain't going. I don't trust the news report. What that means is society does not believe in engineering anymore. They think we're some quacks. They think that the weatherman is just somebody that just talks, right? Am I saying this to you guys, or you understand what I'm saying? I said, truly, we need the human capital in engineering to, one, bring engineering back. Some say bring the sexy back, but we got to bring the credibility back. And you can't do it if you're trying to hide and try to half be an engineer. So I'm going to tell you, I want every one of you in graduate school, but I want every one of you committed to graduate school. Because it's not just the PhDs that do all the work. The masters get hired into companies that do the investment. So there's a thing called convergence. And what it means is that we have to be teams when we actually solve these problems. The truth is, the failure wasn't just with the weatherman. It was with the Category 5 houses that were designed for Category 2. It was for the dam system that broke. It was for the road system that wasn't high enough because it flooded. We had a whole bunch of people that couldn't get past their discipline, couldn't get past working together to not solve a problem. Hurricanes aren't new. I think before I was born, they were around, right? But God dang it, how can we keep having this happen? Right? Okay, so I'm going to get off that. But what I'll tell you is, well, you should see the passion in your research, right? And one thing I'll say, global diversity drives local economies. What color is that baby? I don't care. If it's your kid, you want them to have a better life. Would you agree? If it's your kid, you want a better life, don't you? I got some cover of NACME, and they were like, oh, you support diversity. And I said, man, they make me look like a clown, right? But the reality is when I think about diversity, this is the thing that I put up globally. What program do I like? I came back. Dr. Perkins, are you coming? Yeah, I'm coming. You sure you're coming? I'm busy, Perk. You sure you're coming? I said, I believe so much in this program, and this is the future, that I'm going to come. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to try to sneak out. I'm going to be on my text. I mean, I'm still part of the current administration. I got to put the disclaimers out. But the reality is I believe in you guys. But I'm not going to come here if y'all going to half-ass it, right? And we put this program together 5 years ago, and I'm passionate about this program. So I also would tell you this. You are not always fighting the white folks. I'm going to say it again. I heard the white folks discussion. It is a global economy. We have Eastern Indian. We have Chinese. We have African. We have Nigerian. We're part of Africa. You know, yeah, I'm looking at you. I saw you. We are in a global economy. We are in Puerto Rico. We got Puerto Rico. We got Puerto Rico, right? The engineer is the most ethical player in the world. Engineering ethics. You take the P exam, it's ethics. We have to be beyond our color. We have to design not because it's a black bridge, it's not a white bridge, it's not a black road, it's a road. Do you understand what I'm saying to you guys? And you have to work together globally. In fact, your diverse background gives you more power. I had programs in Mexico, Brazil, India. Hell, they love me. They say, well, this is bad road. I lived in the ghetto. At least they ain't pulling a pistol out this week. Right? My diverse background that's a third world country. I tell her, Louise, I said, well, Mom, I said, man, India's a little bit worse than Mexico, but it depends on what street. Right? But if I go to third ward, it's flooded out, people pulling pistols on me. The diverse background makes you stronger, not weaker. I'm tired of all this, somebody holding me back. Are you serious? No. You are already getting an engineering degree. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't get motivated. This is when I was in Mexico. And I used to race all them cats up that, it's called Pyramid del Sol, right? And I'm not going to do Spanish today because I make everybody nervous, even the people that are Latino, because their grandparents speak Spanish, but they don't. That's another story. But when we used to race up that hill, because I always trained for a whole year, and I'd say if a student beats me up that pyramid, I'll give him $100. So all the ex-baseball players, football, they all thought they could beat me, but they didn't know it was coming, right? So I'd beat everybody up the hill, and then people would have their stomach hurt, somebody throws up, all that good stuff. But what we would do is when somebody couldn't get up the hill, Big Mo was about 300 when we went down to Mexico. He's Indian, actually, right? Then look, he looks Latino, he's Eastern Indian. And he couldn't make it. We all went down and carried him up to the pyramid, because you know what? We were there. If we couldn't all get up that pyramid, we couldn't be successful, right? I still kept $100. But the point I make to you guys is that engineering is the most ethical field because you can't design for and exclude people. You have to design for inclusiveness. These are my first group of PhDs. And I look at Dwight came from Prairie View A&M and Clark, right? No, he came from Clark. And then we have Maurice, he's PV. We got Catherine, she's Tennessee State. Only one I couldn't get was Eastern Shore because they bougie in the East Coast. But you see where the programs came from, right? And they look, during the graduate school, they hated me. I would say, this paper, I can't believe you wrote this and embarrassed me. But they all graduated, all 17, right? And they weren't all black, but the fact is that they all believed in the journey. You didn't come here to be halfway and squeak into graduate school. You go into graduate school, you take it, and you make the world better. So look at this pipeline. Dr. Perez answered the question about Switzerland. Do you know in most countries they don't let you go to high school? You got to test you got to test into 6th grade. Then you got to test into 9th grade. You see all these TAPS tests, and you wonder why they exist? Because America, even though you fail, they still won't let you in. Do you know it's a privilege to go to college? And someone said student loan debt. I said, well, student loan debt exists because people knew the value of it. But if you're going to go in there and buy a Mercedes with a student loan debt, don't go. Because you don't care about the degree, you care about your Mercedes. I'm talking to people, y'all know I'm talking to you. You can't help your mama if you're in college. You need to graduate and then help your mama. They pay for you through their blood, sweat, and tears to go to college. You owe it to them to finish. go get a bull job and then talk about, well, I don't know, I couldn't go to grad school, I have an opportunity. No, you have an opportunity. You need to go home at night and have a gut check, right? All right, my buddy James L. Moore III, he runs the the Bell Center at Ohio State. He's a senior vice provost at the Ohio State, because I always give him a hard time about it. He's also chief diversity officer. And I stole some of his slides. And what we talk about is, why do minorities have opportunities in education? It starts with interest, opportunity, resources. But what I said to him, the corollary to this is preparation. You don't do the GRE, you not get into grad school and you shouldn't be there. You could take the GRE 5 times and wait 2 more years and take it 5 more times. I don't want to hear about no GRE score too low. I don't want to hear that. Now again, I'm the mean professor that's not telling you how warm and fuzzy graduate school is. But I'm telling you, owe it to yourself. Because you know what? In the next decade, you need a master's degree or you won't get a job. It's not, I don't think it's an option. The PhD, I think, is a lifelong commitment. But the master's, you need one. So it's not, oh, I need to think about grad school. No, you need to go. Okay, now I got to do what I'm supposed to do. You came for the Science Foundation Fellowship Program. So I have a disclaimer, because I had to actually take off my federal badge, because if I wanted to talk to you about what I just talked to you about, I couldn't do that, because that was what does not represent the Science Foundation's information. Okay, so I had to do that, because the last 2 years I was real nice, and I was a federal employee, and I still am, but I wanted you guys to hear that from me. Okay. Because again, my name is on the logo, and Perkins always gets you, but my name is on the program, and I need to make sure that my heart is in the program. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to the National Science Foundation has the most prestigious fellowship in the world, and not only does winning the fellowship give you money, it actually opens doors. And what I'll tell you is that this is the fellowship that if you get, you can go from your school to Harvard, MIT, Stanford. They can turn you down for going to Stanford. You win the fellowship, guess what? They accept you to Stanford. There's a 3-year wait list to go to Stanford PhD program. You win the fellowship, guess what? Not only are you going, you're going for free. So it is not just the fellowship. It's the access to the fellowship. It is also the most competitive fellowship in the country. And some would say, even if you lose, you can get the other fellowships. So I'm going to take you on what I think is the best way to approach winning it, and you should write it even if you lose, because you know what? It will help you determine your graduate education journey. So first thing is, I want to tell you what a fellowship is and what a traineeship is. Universities have fellowships and traineeships. Traineeships are designed to be in-house, and they're within the university. Fellowships are nationally competitive grants. If you want the access, you got to win. The traineeships, a lot of schools will give you things because they want you here and they value you as the things that you're contributing. The fellowship means that you can compete with anybody in the world. So again, my goal is not to only encourage you to get the money, it's to challenge yourself to see how well you compete. One thing that I'll talk about graduate education. People don't realize graduate education was not called graduate education in the 50s. It was called workforce. People mix up, they say workforce development. It's going to support the workforce. Graduate education was created to support the U.S. workforce. You know what happened in the 1950s? When the NSF was created? Nobody wanted to go to grad school in STEM. Nobody wanted to be an engineer. Everybody wanted to just get an engineering degree and go get a job and not do engineering. So they created federal agencies to support STEM. Guess what happens? And they say we need domestic graduate students. It's 2017. Guess what nobody wants to do? Same thing, right? It's same thing, right? So again, what my job is to say it's important, and the talented 10th has to prevail. You've already proven you can be engineers. It's now it's for you to decide to be even more thorough engineer. So what are the goals? One of it, I'll tell you this, these goals have changed because broadening participation was not always a goal. What's broadening participation mean? What's that code word mean? Diversity, right? They can't use that word anymore globally. So am I being recorded? Be careful. But I think the amount of money that we have, she can delete it. The amount of money it's what, $34,000, the $12,000 stipend. Now I know this is what I need you to wake up on because I know you sleep. what you need to wake up on is that this fellowship, they will take the $12,000 in lieu of whatever the tuition is. So if tuition is $80,000 a year, guess what they'll take on this fellowship? $12,000. So if you want to go to Harvard and the tuition is $80,000 a semester, it's $160,000 a year. Guess what they'll take for $160,000? $12,000. Now, if that doesn't mean much to you, that's on you. If I didn't explain it well, that's on you. But the truth is that some money is created differently than others. Now, why would they take that money? Because it's the most competitive fellowship in the country, right? Okay. So what I will tell you is that there's a solicitation. When you get a chance, Google NSF, GRFP, Graduate Research Fellowship Program. But there's a thing called a solicitation. Most faculty don't realize this. The rules of the game. Anybody play football sports? Anybody play sport? Who doesn't play sports? Let me put it that way. Who's never played a sport in their life? Okay. You never played a sport in your life? There are things called the rules, right? There are things called the rules. I must ignore that. There's a thing called the rules, right? If you don't know the rules, you can't win the game, right? Some people got talent, but they can't play the rules, right? Yes, so I would tell faculty, I would tell grant writers, the first thing you call a federal employee, there's always a rule. Eric Jones, I'm calling, I didn't win a grant. Why did I win that grant? Okay, refer to rule number 35. Your name is misspelled. You know, and the truth is, in a competitive environment, what happens? They want to disqualify you, right? We had 17,000 applications for 1,000 awards. You know, do the math. You guys, I hope that the Princeton Review guy was here yesterday. Do the math in your head. What do we want to do? We want to disqualify a hell of a lot of people, right? As employees. Now, we love everybody. So what I'm telling you, you got to read the rules. If you don't know the rules, you can't win. You could try to win. Here are the fields of study. Here are the fields that don't study. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you're thinking about the fellowship, if you can't get your master's and then turn around and try to get this fellowship. You have to get the fellowship before you go to grad school or while you're in grad school. Master's time counts. You can use the money for master's degrees. I'm careful because we have a lot of life scientists who want to win, but you can't write the NIH grant, what they call a K award, and try to use it for NSF. There's a lot of games, and so I'm just kind of giving you guys some context. What you do want to know is there are 4 competitions. Most people don't realize there are 4 competitions. There's the seniors, first-year graduate students, second-year graduate students, and people returning from the military service. Now, let me give you an example. If I'm a senior undergraduate and I'm a second-year PhD student, who should have publications? Okay, so if you try to have a second-year student say, I ain't got no publications, you ain't going to win. But guess when your best opportunity to win the grant? Senior. How many times can you apply? Let's say you only can apply 2 times. Actually, it's more than that. While I was at NSF, we changed some rules. You know why we changed some rules? Because I was there. Why did I change the rules? Because I want some of you guys to win. Now, what you don't know is that you can apply until you go to graduate school. You can apply as a senior. Say you don't go to college right after undergrad. You can apply while you're working. You can apply until you win. But once you're in graduate school, you can only apply 1 time. Now, I'm teaching you the nuances of the rules. You can do what you want to do. But if you want to go after the most competitive fellowship in the world, you got to think about how to play. The other thing is, I changed the rules, and guess what happened last year? Diversity happened. Oh, my God. The word happened. Oh, my God. Now I'm in engineering. That's why I could talk about this, because I'm no longer in that program. And they didn't kick me out. I just want to change. But the reality is that it's designed for you guys who are thinking about going to graduate school to go to graduate school. It's been redesigned so that it's something that you should think about, and we want more people going to graduate school. Anyway, the competition, I'm going to give you a broad brush, but I expect you just to read this, and I got to give Tim his time. Is 1, you got to have a personal statement, and you have to have a what? That second word says what? Research. Just because you grew up and you first gen and your feet big and you help the community, you go to YMCA on Thursday and you tutor people at night, that's great. That's great. But what are we trying to get? Engineers. You're going to have to think about the research. If you did an REU program at McNair, any of these things, you're going to have to go to some of these professors, ask for what their research is. You may have to go in their lab and work. But you have to take it seriously. It's just not, hey, and I know that some applications don't require that, but this requires this. And then the 3 reference letters. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I can talk all day. These are for your edification, and I'm going to blow through them, but you need to read them while I'm talking. Number 1, a personal statement is, are you doing something for someone? If you get funding, are you going to reach back and help somebody? If you say, I should get it just because my feet were big and people with big feet need help, that's not going to work. What I would tell you, I've seen Caucasians out minorities. I got to use a different word, so I'm recording. I've seen Caucasians go back to the old folks' home and the ghetto and teach people how to read and write. Right? That's diverse. That's helping a diverse community. You just walking around saying I am part of a diverse community does not contribute to diverse communities. You going to an HBCU or HSI or MSI doesn't mean that you did anything. You could have just showed up. Other people are trying to actively make an impact. So if you aren't doing it, you should go be tutoring somebody if you're a senior in engineering, in mathematics. So anyway, I'm bringing that up. I'm going to get off of that topic because people get upset. The other idea is relevant research. Again, we're trying to judge who are the future scientists in the world. Okay, your research statement. This is an example of it has to advance knowledge. And again, you need to be pushing the professors that you know and ask them to do this and teach you and help you. You shouldn't walk out the door not knowing what that means to advance science. What are they doing? They're professors. They do it for a living. Here's the time frame. The competition for engineering is October 27th. You could try to put it together for 2 weeks, but most people spend a whole year trying to put it together. I'm going to strongly encourage you, if you are a senior, to put it in. Because again, that's where we've put the investment in the last couple of years. There's a thing called FastLane. Your vice president of research will tell you how to do this. Now I'm going to give you something that's going to make you really mad, because I got to get through the end. This is all for your edification. I've already told you. Okay, let me stop right here and then I'll drop the mic. Professors are supposed to write your reference letters, and researchers. It's a separate submission of reference letters. Most of the underrepresented minorities get disqualified because their professor or their advisor did not upload the letter. Letters are due November 3rd. Don't get somebody that don't like you, don't know you, don't think about you, and you just showed up and said, put me a reference letter. The other thing is the reference letter dictates you winning. And the reference letter has to have intellectual merit and broader impacts in it. If you're a person just to go take that same old thing that they always write for everybody else, you will lose. You will lose. And here's the toughest part. You say, a good question is say, ask the reference writer, have you won an NSF grant? And you know what? People are going to be mad at you. Some people they're going to look at you crazy and say, oh, well, it's good enough. No, it's not good enough. You won't win. And I'm saying that because I'm pushing you to do what? Go after graduate education. I'm not telling you to say, well, he may get his feelings hurt. I don't care about his feelings. I need you to change the world. I'm going to be old one day. I tell my graduate students, I'm so tired of y'all not taking academic positions, taking these 6-figure jobs. The minute I teach people, they get 6-figure jobs. Doc is 180. God dang, okay, you take it. You got to take it, right? Because I teach the best in the world. I got about 4 in academia, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to be aggressive on graduate education, and you are the future. I'm hoping that when you guys fix this stuff for me, I'm going to be old one day. I want you to say, Doc, I designed this auto lift. You can live forever. Okay, you owe me, right? I taught you, right? But the idea, I hope that this encourages you. Tim, I'm sorry about your time. But what I want to make sure that you guys get out of this is, one, I want you to apply for this competition because I need you to push yourself. And I also want you to don't forget, you are part of a field in engineering. And that you need to make sure that when you write your application letters, you write your fellowship letters, that you're contributing to the field. And I know you can do a really good job. Thank you.